एक मिनट 2 मिनट में स्पीड टेस्ट कर लूँ। करें स्टार्ट फिर। भाई 350 की स्पीड आ रही है, 400 की स्पीड आ रही है भाई।
पूरे दिन का पूरा न्यूज़पेपर फोल्ड करके इनको छोटे पूरे दो के नीचे ला के देखना।
चलो
कल के लिए मेरी बात मान के देखना, फिर हम देखेंगे। ये कैमरा जो है यूं झुका हुआ है, इसका स्लैंट यूं है, ये ओरिजिनल व्यू हो सकता है। अरे दैट इज व्हाट इज नीडेड सर, यही तो चाहिए। अब होता है, दैट्स मोर देन एनफ। अब जरा देखो, वापस जाओ उसी जगह पे, देखो आ गया अंदर। ठीक है, हमें सामने देख रहे हो, नजर सामने दिख रही है, बढ़िया, यही तो चाहिए था।
वो चला गया। दोबारा लेना पड़ेगा। करेंगे स्टार्ट। पीपीटी नया डाला है, पीपीटी का नया दिया है। ठीक है, मेरे को बता देना ओके करके स्टार्ट कर देना, ठीक है। इतना टाइम क्यों लगा रहा है पूरे कुछ।
I really don't for about 10 minutes stand. Actually, can I? 5 मिनट के करीब एक्सटेंड कर दूंगी, 5 मिनट उसका एक और वो है, निकलना पड़ेगा।
हम तो नहीं। एक काम करके क्लास स्टार्ट करा दो, पीपीटी रहने दो, ठीक है। बहुत टाइम हो गया यार, वरना फिर देखो प्रेशर आ जाएगा वहां से ऊपर से, ठीक है ना। भाई इशू हो रहा है क्योंकि मैंने तो यहाँ पे सब कुछ ठीक ही भेजा है, इशू है नहीं। दोबारा फिर भेजूंगा फिर कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाएगी, है ना। पीपीटी पीपीटी आपको भेज दूँ? पीपीटी भेजने से कुछ होगा? हाँ, ऑपरेट तो यहीं से होगा ना। स्टार्ट कराओ फिर आप बोलो, मैं करूँ अभी स्टार्ट, तब तक करूँ, बैकग्राउंड लगाओ।
Good morning, learners. Myself, Dr. Namita Gupta, is back again with your journey of learning the processes and functions of management. So, let's go ahead. We have known about the various functions of management. We talked in detail about planning, where we learned what should be the future course of action. We tried to find out what the why, what, where, when, where, how, and how much, and how many of the whole process or whole act, whatever we have to do. So once we plan, we know the nitty-gritties of all these aspects and we got answers to these questions. So in our mind or on paper, we are clear what has to be done and how it has to be done. Now, this has to be brought into action. So when we have to bring into action, we do it through organizing. So in the last class, we studied about the six elements of organizing, where the first element was work specialization, which means we divide the big work into smaller parts, and these smaller parts are divided into various people so that multiple people can get the work done together and finish the one product. So now with the help of these multiple people, we use this word called as assembly line where manufacturing happens in factory shops where multiple conveyor belts are running and multiple products are continuously being made with the help of a team of members which may be as large as 200, could be 300 depending on the process. So, work specialization is a process where we continuously get small work being done by the same person again and again and again, with which he develops an expertise and due to his experience, his work efficiency is very much improved. The time is also reduced of doing the work, and the best quality work is being produced. So this gives us an idea that the increasing the work specialization, the better would be the quality of the work. No, that's a surprise. We cannot keep on increasing the work specialization and expect better returns because human being is a living being which operates on various creative dimension like moods. So what happens if a person keeps on doing the same work? Let's say a person is making 200, is in the process of making a fridge, and daily his job is to fit a freezer into the body of the fridge. So daily he fits around 200 freezers into the fridge, and within a year he has fitted 365, or even let's say with all the holidays counted, he's at least fitted 280 days into 200 freezers. And then let's say if he has worked for 2 years, oh my god, he has got bored of doing the same work again and again. So his work specialization does not furthermore increase the quality of his work. Instead, it decreases. So now it has been observed that at a certain level, till a certain time, increasing the work specialization or making a person do the same work improves his capacity. And after some time, the quality of the work becomes stagnant. It doesn't increase anymore. And after some time, the quality starts falling down because now the person is bored of that work. He has already learned it. There is nothing more to grow, nothing more to improve. And therefore, the boredom picks up. And this person's quality of work goes down because of the monotone, because of the so, this concept of work specialization gives birth to multi-skilling. So, nowadays, what happens is organization keeps on changing the work profile after 6 months or after 1 year once they feel the person has attained mastery into his work. And then he is trained on some one other aspect. He's asked where he is interested in, which work would he be interested, and then he's given training for that work, and then he starts learning that new work. The advantages of multi-skilling for the employee is that he learns different functions of the job, and so he can counter his boredom by learning something new. He acquires a new skill. He feels like challenge. He feels interest in learning a new work. And for the organization, they get multiple people who can do different works. So in case one is absent, they can replace it with another person and it becomes easier to replace. So this was work specialization. The second important element of organizing that we studied was the departmentation. So we talked about the various phases of departmentation, which could have been the product, the customer, the functions. Then we had the third element of like work in organizing, which was span of control. So, how many people can a boss effectively and efficiently manage? Is the span of control of the person or a boss. So, we need to ensure that the number should be such that the efficiency of the workers is improved and also the effectiveness of the attainment of the goal is also enhanced, and therefore the boss is able to manage whatever the number has been allocated or decided as a span of control for him. And is called as formalization. So, formalization stands for the process of standardizing, kind of documenting everything. Usually, when we want to increase the level of formalization, we create written documents. So, every process is clearly mentioned ensuring that things are similarly placed and things are similarly communicated to all the members of the department, or under a period of time the instructions remain the same. So the method of doing it is by writing everything, whether it be the plan, the policy, the process. Last but not the least, standardization. One important element of organizing is standardization. So what we do is we make standard processes. Like I remember in Honda, behind the workspace of every worker, their SOP was being mentioned. Now, what is SOP? SOP is standard operating procedures. So the step by step and the process of how the work has to be done for that workstation, it was mentioned. So every worker can remember how they have to go along. A worker can easily look back if he misses out on something, cross check on how the work has to be done, and any worker who replaces him can do the work in the same manner. So that is the way of standardizing the process. In the same way, if you look at MACD, we all have been eating McDonald's burgers, and trust me, the SOP of how to make a burger is fitted into the brain of That is what the togetherness of formalization and standardization does to you. So in standardization, we decide what is the best standard that we have to follow. So let's say a burger has to be heated for maybe 20 seconds, then it has to be taken out. Then a fixed scoop size of cream or the white cream that we say, or the patented Mandy cream, which we really relish and love so much, that is being put on this upper burger. So third step would be getting a herbs, etc., have to be put into it. So these steps are being very clearly specified. And trust me, the steps won't change. If you eat aloo tikki burger in Noida, in Delhi, or in Pakistan, or in Afghanistan, or in US, or in UK, the burger would always taste the same because it has been cooked up by the same steps, the same standard operating procedures. So this is what it means by standardization. The standardization creates uniformity of product and the product quality remains the same. So this makes it free of any location, it makes it free of any regional impact, etc. So these are the five important elements of organizing. Then we have like centralization and decentralization, which is the sixth point. So we had already talked that centralization stands for a process where all the decision making is withheld at a one central point because of the assumption that the rest of the employees are immature and cannot take the right decision. Whereas the opposite to it is decentralization. Centralization is more often practiced in those organizations where there is a hierarchy. And the top boss is the only one supposed to be the most intelligent person to take the right decision. The modern system has countered this, and this centralization is more commonly accepted at though in those countries, in those organizations where the power distance is high, where the top person or the most senior person or the most meritorious person is considered to be the one to the most apt to take the decision. Whereas where power distance is low, where the belief that the word is dynamic, where the belief that the communication has to be fast, where the belief that everybody at their position is capable to take the decision related to their position, is capable of taking that decision. So then the concept of decentralization come into play, where each person at his position has a certain authority to take a decision related to his level. For example, there might be a delegation that if the decision is related to 200 rupees, the junior most salesman can take it. If the decision comes out to be 500 rupees, then the senior salesman will take it. If the decision comes out to be more than 2000 rupees, then the assistant manager will take it. If the decision is related to more than 5000 rupees, then the manager would take it. If it is more than 15,000 or 20,000, then the senior manager, and so on and so forth. The division is being done. And then the answer has been taken to be taken from that authority person as per the cost of the product. So we can say that this is what is called as decentralization, where each person may be able to permit to take a decision related to his role or allocated to his role. So this was organizing. The third function that we have is called as staffing. So what happens in staffing? Let's try to understand this. Staffing is a function where we are trying to procure employees who can be fitted in the positions that we have identified, the departments that we have created, and then we try to fill up them with the eligible candidates who have applied for the organization. So staffing includes various sub processes like manpower planning, where we plan how many number of people, what qualification people, when do we need it, where do we need it, what should be the age of the person, what should be the level of experience of the person, what kind of certifications do we want in that person, what should be the education of this person, All these questions are being answered during manpower planning, and we identify how many people can fulfill the need of work that we have. Second process is recruitment. In the process of recruitment, we create advertisement. We create a source of information through which we let the external world know, or even the internal world know, that we we let the internal world know that we need to kind of like we need to kind of, you can say, um, like we need this number of people at this position with these capabilities or with this eligibilities with this salary. So these informations are being shared, and once these informations are being shared, then what do you need to do is you simply need to like go ahead and then hire those people. So you get a bunch of CVs, and when you get this bunch of CVs, from this you choose the person who is most suitable to your organization's position, and you allocate that role. Maybe the process to start of allocation, the first step is you give a letter of intent where you tell the person that you, once the person is selected out of the various processes of interview, out of work, group discussions, then like maybe a written test, all these are the various processes. Once the person is found suitable, this person is sent for a reference check. Maybe some organizations go for a medical test also. If a person is found suitable from all the angles, he is offered a letter of intent where the organization shares that we want you to come on this position at this salary. And if you agree with this, you are required to join on this particular date. So the person concerned, he would agree to it, and this person would come and join on a certain date. Certain steps of joining would happen where he's made to fill all the essential forms. They can be ESI form, the PF form, the joining form, the identity card form, the uniform form. So all these various formalities have to be done by the candidate, and through this, the complete joining he is supposed to come regularly to the organization. Now, despite of the best selection process, still some of the some of the aspects of organization still needs to be reinforced, and the employee is given a small training called as induction training. So in this induction training, which can also be referred as introduction training, the employee is introduced to the systems, the policies, the plans, and the goals of organization. So in different organizations, this might be of different duration. Some organization believe that people will slowly get to know the organization and get to know the things that are relevant to him. They may go for a small induction training of 1 day only. They believe that the employee can be inducted by doing his work by its own department members. So this kind of organization may only do a 1 day induction training. But lot many organizations believe that an employee should be very much guided about the complete organization, should experience various sections of the organization, and these organizations go for a long induction training. So, like I remember when I did work in Honda Sale Car India Limited, I was made to go for a kind of 1 week desk induction training where all the different HODs of different departments used to come for 3 hours and share the complete detailed process, goals, objective of their own department so that the employee gets to know the complete system of the company's manufacturing process and how does each process contributes to the making of the final product. So all the HODs introduce themselves. Then there was one day for HR where HR used to share about the complete code of conduct, the policies of HR that would impact the employee. And then the last week was there for the shop floor training. Though I was an HR person, I would not have to manufacture cars. But still, they believe that an employee needs to go through the environment in which the employees are working. So I did my 1 week shop floor training in paints department. So in paints department, I was there for 1 week where I learned the whole process. I went through the complete understanding of how the paint process goes on. So this was a bit of technical for me, but still it gave me a feel of the environment in which my colleagues work. So this was how the induction training is being done for most of the organization. Some companies do it with the help of factory visit. They take all the employees for a small visit of the factory so that he can see the complete process live with his own eyes. Some companies organize a party and then invite all the employees of the organization to come in this party so that they can meet the new colleagues. So there are different ways of enhancing this socialization. An employee is made to know where he has to sit, who is going to be his boss, who is his immediate boss, and who is going to be his mentor, and the complete hand holding process is being done. You may wonder why this so much time is being spent in induction. Trust me, guys, the research has proved it very well that an organization that does good induction training helps remove the wrong conceptions that are there in the mind of a new employee owing to his previous organization, owing to misconceptions, owing to some assumptions that he or she might have taken with respect to the organization or his role. So once the employee is very clear about what he can expect from the organization, what he needs to deliver to the organization, then it is much more easier for one to give his or her best and thus continue working in the organization. So good induction training ensures a 30% rise in the stay of the organization of the new joinee. So once this induction has happened, then the next step is like some organizations also do a bit of technical training so that they can help the employees know the complete process if it is a technical employee. So after this training, the employee goes into work. After the completion of 1 month, he is paid his salary, which is called as a compensation and waste management. And then the employee is taken care, his facilities are being provided, his welfare is taken care, he is his industrial relation in the organization is managed, and through this we can say the staffing process continues from the start where the conception of a employee has happened through manpower planning till the end when an employee exists from an organization. So during exit, also, if an employee wants to give resignation, then he is being like going, he has to go through an exit interview. Through this exit interview, we try to ask, the company try to ask, what is it that went wrong for this employee so that they can learn and not let that be repeated. And employee is being asked what more an organization can do to retain the employee. So this is a step of retention, an attempt to retain, and in case something is possible by which we can retain this employee, then the best attempt is being done from the HR side. All this comprises of the staffing function of management. Then the fourth function of management is directing. So in directing, what happens is directing comprises of three to four steps. So like first one is monitoring. In monitoring, a person supervision or monitoring. So in monitoring, a person is being observed by a senior so that he follows the right steps, he does not make any mistake. So initially this monitoring can be done by a coach, a technical coach who has taught the work to the junior employee or the new employee, and after learning the work from him, this junior employee is able to kind of go ahead and do the work. So this junior employee is has got a demo from his coach, and now he is made to do the work, and this coach observes, and if there are any gaps or any mistakes, he gives feedbacks to the junior employee or the new joinee and helps him get the work in line. So then this worker is able to improve his work, or a junior, it could be a junior manager learning from a senior manager. So there is a step called as shadowing. In shadowing also, a junior works as an assistant to a senior and continuously be with him, whether it be in the meeting, whether it be in a informal group discussion. So every time this junior employee is with the senior because he's learning from him, he's getting trained through him. So there can be various ways of ensuring that the employee is being well monitored so that he doesn't make any mistake. Then this is also similar, slightly similar to supervision. So supervision and monitoring are clubbing together. So a supervisor is being assigned to every junior employee. This supervisor's role is to ensure complete training, guidance, and support. Sometimes the supervisor is also given a different name called as mentor. So this mentor and supervisor, are there any differences? Let's try to know. So where the supervisor is more concerned about the formal professional self of the person, that this person is able to do the work rightly in the organization. So he's focused more on his work. But the mentor is also having the freedom to delve into the personal dimension. Let's say if a worker is going through a divorce in his house, so naturally his mindset would be affected. He would not be in his complete effective self. So in that case, what happens is his performance goes down. So normally a supervisor will only give him feedbacks regarding how his work is not good, what are mistakes he's making. But a mentor also has a freedom to take him out for a small lunch, do counseling for him, discuss with him, ask him what is happening, why it happened, and many a times this small process of sharing your heart with your mentor helps an employee release the stress in which he or she is. So once this employee, he is able to release his stress, he is able to get the realistic facts that though he is going through divorce, but still thinking about it will not help him in the workplace. And if he pays his attention on his work instead of thinking about the divorce, it would be better that he focuses on his work. If his mind goes off the divorce, probably he will feel better. So a mentor can help in changing this mindset, helping an employee come back from his difficult situation to a more neutral situation at the workplace and help him to retain his faith, confidence is in himself. So that's how a supervisor and a mentor is different. Um, so you can say a personal guide, a personal counsel who helps ensure that an employee is again coming back to efficient and effective employee in the organization. So this is what we refer as supervision, mentoring, or then we have communication. Like one of the important role of a boss or a senior is that they need to communicate from the very start till the end of the finishing or exit or the termination of an employee's presence in the organization. So the recruitment team communicates the organization's desire to join the organization, and then he's handed over to the immediate boss. So the immediate boss's role is to motivate that employee. Immediate boss's role is to communicate the expectations and the targets and the KRAs. I hope you are aware what is KRAs. KRA stands for Key Result Areas, the important areas in which an employee is supposed to work and attain his goals. So there's a very beautiful method called as MBO. In the past, usually the responsibilities or the goals were just assigned to an employee. But now what we do is instead we rather not just assign the goals and the targets to employee, We just try to help him by we try to help him by you can say helping him make this decision of what objectives and targets he want to attain. So here the employee and the boss both sits together and they togetherly what they do is they together come up and try to fix up what role is suitable, what target is suitable, and how much should he take up the target for the initial month or for the initial year. So this is a consensus-based approach to goal setting. So this is again communicated between the immediate boss and the employee. So these communication, then the communication of feedback. When an employee has done the work, in between also he might face some obstacles, so, an employee should be guided on how he or she can counter those obstacles and how he can like go beyond them. These obstacles could be related to his personal values, his personal efficiency, his personal ability to manage time, etc. So, a boss is supposed to help him sail through, and the boss tries to guide so that an employee is able to come out of any kind of difficulty and be on track so that he's able to fulfill the prime targets. Once the employee has done his work, then he needs to be not just at the end but also in between. Continuous feedbacks have to be given by the immediate boss. These continuous feedbacks, when communicated in time, helps an employee improvise his work, helps an employee understand wherever he is going wrong in his work, and he continuously improves them. He learns, he grows, he develops, and this all is by virtue of his boss's feedback. So, with these continuous feedbacks, he also know where he stands, and at the end, the final communication process happens in the organization, and this is one important role of the directing role of the boss. Then one is motivating. It goes on from the very start till the end. If ever an employee fails in his uh, like capacity to do his work, or maybe he lacks confidence, or he gets discouraged, or anything wrong happens where the boss needs to intervene and help the employee come up to a level so that he or she can get his work done. Then, so we have this supervision, motivation, communication, and last but not the least, leadership. A boss's role is to lead. The junior employees are like followers. Follow him as a leader, trust on him, rely on him, and may be able to travel their journey and attain their goals in a perfect manner. So, this is what is called as the process of directing function. Now, did. So the instructions are passed through the help of coordinators. I'm sure you all must have also experienced student coordinators, the student monitors in the class. What are they doing? They are also coordinating between whom? You, the students, and the teachers. And sometimes, like in IGNO also, you have got various coordinators of the center with whom you may get in touch, who help you get know about the date sheets, about the plans, about the live lectures, etc. And you get all those messages. So by getting these messages, you get updated on how you can go ahead or connect with the system. So after the coordinating function, we can say the most important function is controlling function. Some also call it reviewing function. So what is this controlling functions? Let's have a quick and a detailed understanding of this process. So we can say that this controlling function is mainly we need to define what is control. So in short, we can say the process of monitoring activities to ensure that they are being accomplished as planned, and also if there are certain deviations, then the chance of correcting those deviations. These deviations could be in terms of time that we are delayed in doing our work. These deviations could be in terms of use of raw material. Maybe we have used more raw material or we have wasted raw material due to which the raw material has become short. Or it could be in terms of quality that the process that we have used of doing the work has not been so perfect, or the skills of the employee was short due to which he has not been able to work according to the expected quality, and we have to make change to ensure that the process is improvised, the workers skills are enhanced, so that the work is happening in the right quantity as expected, right quality as planned, in the right time as the target goals, and delivered to the employee just as expected. So, removing any kind of deviations is an essential aspect of controlling. So, this usually happens. There are in between or intermediate controls also where you keep checking whether the work is going in line or not. So, ultimately, the control systems are judged in terms of how well they are facilitating the goal achievement in the organization. So we also at times use external market mechanisms to establish the standards of performance. So we have to find out what kind of products and services are good. We try to find out what is the competition providing, what kind of facilities or products is the competition providing. We also try to judge what are other people doing. So the controls are divided into various sections. The marketing control, where we try to get information and data from the market and try to match them with our product. Bureaucratic control, where we are trying to come up with rules, procedure, policies, standardization of activities, creating the right job description so that every employee knows what is it that they are expected. Here we are ensuring that the organization authority responsibility structure is helping in ensuring the right plan attainment. Clan control. So clan control is kind of the group behavior. Sorry, the aspects of organization culture, the shared values, the traditions that help an employee attain the right plans and the right goals in time. It can also be the peer pressure where the other team members help in guiding the rest of the team members in case there are some changes that are happening. So they help them come back to the point from where they started. So the question comes in, why do we need control? Why is it important? This function is highly important. It is the final link in the management process. It directly links our back with the planning. So through controls only, and the manager can know whether the organization goals are being met or not. It also permits the delegation of authority. So, if a boss is always knowing that in case an employee does something wrong, then the boss will be held responsible. So, it is a duty of the boss to ensure that nothing goes wrong. So, it's his authority. It's like he has delegated his authority to the junior to get the work done, but the responsibility still lies with the boss. So, it becomes a duty of the boss to control that nothing goes wrong. A boss in the process of planning also, what does a boss do? Boss is actually continuously giving him feedback so that wherever there is a deviation, the employee is able to come back. A quick look or a quick understanding of the four processes, we all know that during plannings, we have decided the goals, the objectives, the strategies, and the plans. So, once we have planned all these things through the structure, through the HRM processes, we are organizing our authority responsibility relationships. Through the leader, we have tried to motivate, lead, communicate, and manage the individual and group behavior, the team behavior. Now, in controlling, what do? We create the right standards, we measure the actual work, and then we compare the actual work with the planned standards. And then, if the planned standards are being met, the actual work is happening the way we planned it, then it means we don't need controlling or we don't need to make any changes. But if the actual performance is lesser, lower than the planned standards, then certain managerial actions are seriously required. So, this the step of taking actions is the first step of a control process is we need to measure the actual process, the actual performance, how much performance the employee has done. So continuous records should be collected of daily work being done by the employee. If we have to measure monthly or we have to measure weekly, we have to measure fortnightly, we need to be clear when is it that we are performing our control process or control function. So once we are clear of the duration, we need to measure the work done till that time. Could be weekly, could be monthly, could be daily, or could be yearly. So once you measure, then you compare with the planned standards, and if there is a deviation, you take managerial action. So this is, in short, the process of control. Now, question is, how do you measure? Are there various ways of measuring? Yes, we can measure by observation. So, a boss, there's a method called as MBWA, management by walking around. So, here, a boss who does not sit a lot on his seat but walks around on the desk of different employees, keep observing how people are doing a work. A supervisor who keeps on moving from one workstation to another workstation to check whether everything is happening perfectly or not. This kind of system is called as management by walking around. Then you have, like, with the help of statistical reports. So you can collect the numerical data, which is calculated through machines also. For example, the number of products that are being made, a machine gives that number. So we can match it with time, that by this time, this much number of articles must be created. So you can easily collect the data. A boss can know that the things are going in time or not. Oral reports, where juniors can come and report and share what is the status of the work. That is also one good way of knowing how well the work is going on. Written reports, where every hour or every half day or every full day, these written reports are being submitted for the boss to check, and the boss can know how well the things are going on. So the question comes is, what is it that we need to measure? This part is much more critical than the previous question of how do we measure. So we all need to measure various types of management situations, like the employee satisfaction, their absenteeism rate, because if the employee is not present, how will he work? Employee turnover rate. If an employee leaves the organization, then trust me, getting a new employee will make us spend 10 times more to make sure that the same work is received from that person. Also, we need to keep the cost within budgets. We need to find out whatever the work has been done. So now once we have already known what we have to measure, when we have to measure, how we have to measure, now once the measurement is there with us, we do the actual measuring. Once we have done the measurement, then we compare the planned standards and the present standards. And then we determine the degree of variation between the two. Now, variation can be of various types. one acceptable range of variation and one unacceptable range of variation. So let's say if the standard is a midline and then there is a acceptable upper limit and there is an acceptable lower limit. So in case the work deviation is between these two limits, then this kind of limit or problem, this kind of variation is acceptable. You can go ahead with it. But if we cross the acceptable upper limit or the acceptable lower limit, then that means the variation have gone out of the range and it is not acceptable. Then you have like let's say this we can say we can check the so this is how once we know that there are certain deviations, then we need to take some managerial actions. What are these managerial actions? So let's say we need to correct the actual performance, we need to take immediate corrective actions, so we need to bring things back on track. What are these basic corrective actions? It could be, let's say, if the time is taken, remaining time is less for the percentage of work. For example, a work was supposed to be completed in 10 days. On the sixth day, when we checked, only 30% work has happened. So we are only left with 4 more days. So what does the boss do? He adds more effective employees to the team so that they may rush up the work and they may speed up so that they may be able to bring the work back in time, and by the ninth day 90% and by the 10th day 100% work is completed. Similarly, let's say some junior employees wasted the raw material got short. So the boss can fill up more raw material to ensure that at least this bunch of work can be completed. Okay, so this is how we go ahead and try to wrap this work. Now, let's say a third example could be if the quality performed by the employees is not good and they are trying to, they are doing the work which is of low quality, then the boss can replace those employees with a new employee set who are capable, who are experienced, and who can create the right quality of work. I'm fully aware that this would lead to increase of cost, but yes, definitely, the increase of cost is better than delivering defective products which will be sent back and which will not just hinder the image of the company, but it will also put you into bad light that you delivered something which was not deliverable. So we need to understand during the control process, it's the internal organization people only who get to know the deviations, the mistakes. At least the external world does not know about it. Defects, when being caught by the quality department, the thing is internal only. The problem is collected or maybe collected internally only, but at least the external world, your image will remain intact. Therefore, it is very, very important to ensure that regular, frequent corrective actions are taken so that the problem can be countered or controlled at the start, and you can close the problem at the nip of the bud instead of letting it become too big. Then we need to also revise our standards. We need to understand why why these mistakes happened. Why was there not understanding in the workers or in the immediate supervisors, with because of which this deviation happened. So we need to relook at our SOPs. We need to specify our standards more. We need to train better so that these mistakes don't happen again. Let's say we gave a target which was not fulfilled by the employees. Then we also need to look whether our targets are unrealistic, whether our standards are too much to attain. If that is the case, we need to further improvise, we need to make variations, we need to make betterments. So we need to revise these standards and ensure we only get a realistic standards which can be followed. So we need to first test and ensure that whatever targets we are setting, these targets are attainable and people are able to attain those targets easily. So this is how we can say through this control process, we are able to come up to a step where whatever we plan, we are able to attain. So the standards are being attained within the variations, and the organization gets its target fulfilled, whatever they wanted to attain. So I hope through this I have taken you through this process of functions of management. I hope it is clear to you. My examples were well understood by you. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. Namaste.